Hey y'all, it's Rachel from J&R Creations, and today we are going to be making a happy Easter wreath. Looks like this is the sign. And we're going to use the pancake method. So it's going to lay a little flatter and sit in a doorway really well. So what you'll need is, I'm using a 12-inch wire frame, just a regular round one, some zip ties, your ribbon. I chose this yellow with polka dot, then this striped, this blue, and of course orange. So, and then whatever mesh you choose. I chose this mesh. So when you're going to work in a glue gun, so when you go to start for the pancake method, what you want to do is, there are 6 sections and you have the bars that separate them. So you're going to put on 12 pipe cleaners. On the outer, we're going to start on the bars. So when I talk about like rows, the outermost row bar is 1, 2, 3, and the inner is 4. So we're going to use the 2 outer ones on the bars. And we're going to take the pipe cleaner and we're putting it in between the 2 bars, and we are going to give it like 2 or 3 twists. Kind of make sure they're even. And we're going to give it, like I said, 2 or 3 twists. And we're going to leave it just like that. So we're going to go around. And I just chose white. You could choose any color pipe cleaners you want. I have all different colors, but I just decided to go with white for this one. So we are gonna finish twisting across. And when you use mesh, you don't have to use the same 2 colors. You can use 2 different colors that highlights it. I just chose 2 of the same because I had them and I liked how it looked with that sign. So now that we got the outside done, we're going to go in the middle and we're going to put 2 right here. Or I'm sorry, pipe cleaner right in the middle. Now with a bigger wreath, we would probably, or with a bigger wreath frame, like if we did 14 inches, we would cut the mesh a lot longer. But because it's little sections and you don't want it to stick up so much, we're going to cut the mesh shorter. But I am going to use 2 pieces in it because this mesh is kind of thin and I don't want you to see the bars. And this is going to be a really simple one. We are just going to do the mesh, the sign, and some bows. Just keep it very, very simple today. Okay, so once you have all 12 of those in there and tied, we are going to cut the mesh. And I forgot, you're going to need a Rotary Cutter too. That's what I use. And then I use a little rock to hold it down while I cut. So this end is cut. I got this rock at like Dollar Tree for like $1.25. I seen that they have some the last time I was in there. You could even use your scissors if they're heavy enough, your wire cutters, whatever, you know, holds it down. You don't have to go buy something. But the end is a little frayed, so I'm just going to cut it off a little bit. I don't know where my garbage is, so. And then we're going to cut at let's do 14 inches. So we're just going to cut 14 inches, and we need 24 pieces because there's 12 of them, and like I said, I want to put 2 in. So it might be a little more fluffier, and I'll find some thicker mesh to do the more traditional pancake method, but I also like to take stuff and kind of make it my own too. So we're going to cut this. Where is my, I don't know where that went. We'll figure it out. I don't know where my ribbon, there it is. Okay. So we're just going to keep cutting, and I'm going to set these on the ground just so that everything's not piled up here. So we're at 4. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be in the best, most straight line. Because you can kind of fix that as you roll it. So it's 6. If you use the wider ones, like the 14-inch frame, I would cut them into at least 19-inch sections, maybe even like 22, just so that it fluffs all around each other. And if you're only using one, but if you're cutting it like 22 or 24 inches, you're probably going to need, depending on how much is on there, you're going to need possibly 2 rolls of each color. I usually stick with 19, even with the bigger ones, because I can get 12 pieces on a normal roll. These are like a little bit of a specialty roll that I think I got at like maybe Michael's or Walmart, so they're not as long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oops, I almost got it too long. 13. 14. See if I can get one more cut out of this. Nope. So since it's so little, I'll just get rid of it. So we got 14 cuts at that length. I think if you were doing 19 inches, you probably would have been okay to get 12 out of that one roll. Until I can find the garbage. I was cleaning up in here yesterday, so stuff got moved around. Get this cut, and then we'll get a ribbon cut, and then we'll start putting it together. This is what kind of takes longest, this and cutting the ribbon, but that's okay. You know, it happens. It's part of the wreath process. 19. 20. And it's not, this board isn't long enough. This is a self-healing mat, and I have a much bigger one downstairs, and I keep saying I have to bring it up, but I never do. But I really got to bring it up because I could have cut 2 at a time because that one goes to 36 inches. So I could have had it going that way. And I lost track, so I'm just going to cut rest of this up just to make sure we have enough. But if you're cutting and you have mesh left over, keep it. Store it away because you never know when you could use it. I've taken some of my end ones and made a wreath because the colors match, and it's just a lot of fun, different colors. And that's okay. But I save all my end pieces as long as there's enough left on it. Even if there's only enough for 1 or 2, I'll still keep it because you never know if you're going to have that color again. I might need 1 or 2. I just store them in a plastic container, honestly. And go from there. Because it really does come in handy. Now, when you go to cut your ribbon, I have this board. The board. I have this. I got it off of Amazon. It starts at 8 inches, and you can cut your ribbon up to 14 inches. They also sell them separately, you know, that break down into 8, 9, 10, and I think can go up to 15 or 16. I had those separate ones, but I kept losing them. Like, I would lose my main one because I would set it somewhere. So I bought this, and it's much easier to keep track of. You can also measure on your cutting board or your healing mat. So all you would do, and since I have 12 things, and I have 4 colors, I'm gonna do 6 of each color because we're gonna rotate them. All you would do is just measure out, because I'm gonna make my ribbon 14 inches. And if I ever decided to go bigger than 14, this is what I would use. You just kind of grab it so that you kind of know where the 14 is. Fold it over. And then just keep going. 2. Just make sure it's nice and lined up. 3. Pull it down. Hold on to it. And just keep folding over. 4. You could even use a ruler if you decide you want to do 12 inches instead of 14. So it's totally up to you. 5. And 6. And then what you would do, so you just cut this end, then you take it, because as you see it's folded over, you take it and you just cut those ends so that it's open. And just get in there. And cut. And then there's your strap, your ribbon tail, or yeah, ribbon tails. So when you pull it apart, 3 are going to be facing the right way, 3 aren't. So you just take those ones that aren't. It's usually, when I fold it, the back ones are the front way, so I just turn them over. And then we'll get to the next step of what we do with those to make dovetails after we cut the rest. I don't know why I'm putting that back on, because we got to use it again. Now for the rest of them, I'm just going to use my tried and true ribbon cutter, ribbon measure. And I will go through and find where I found all of these supplies and put them in the description box. Some of the stuff that I use in the wreath, I may not have. Like this sign my son found for me at a rummage sale. It hadn't been used, so he bought it for me. I think it might have came from Dollar Tree, because I kind of remember seeing that one. I don't know if they still carry it or what, but I'll make sure to list that. So once you cut them, then you just pull them off. Cut there. Cut here. Like I said, as you can see, this is the back side, this is the front side. So just put them together, set them to the side. And we're just going to do that with all of this, and then we're going to dovetail them, and then we'll start putting our mesh up. 3, 4, 5, and 6. I am left-handed, so it's sometimes hard because to buy left-handed stuff, it's really expensive. Or at least it was last time I looked, and it's just easier to go through and find like the stuff I really want. So I just buy everything that's for right-handed, and I just kind of adapt the best I can. But sometimes it does get frustrating. I will not lie. So I've just learned to adapt in a lot of ways. Can't write with my right hand, but I can cut a lot of stuff. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's sometimes why you see me fumble with stuff or like have some issues doing some stuff. I'm going to cut these. And again, turn them. So now we are going to dovetail the ends. So I usually take 3 at a time. I make sure they line up on top as best as I can. I fold it in half, and then I cut upwards. And depending on how you, and see, I have my little dovetail. Depending on how wide or how thin you want that, that's up to you. So you would cut shorter if you want a less prominent dovetail, or you would cut longer if you want a more prominent. I'm more like the middle person, so sometimes they get a little wide, sometimes they're not as wide, but that's kind of how I do it. And if you ever cut and it looks like this at the end, just refold it in half and cut the opposite way that you cut. It happens. Everybody does it. So you just, that's just how you fix it. Because sometimes I get confused, and you'll kind of see me look at it for a minute and decide, especially when I'm on the wreath itself and I'm cutting like tails, you'll see me kind of look at it and kind of see which way I have to cut, because I still, you know, like I said, get confused. It happens. So again, line up the edges, fold it over, and cut. Now, like on this side, because that side's kind of together, there is a piece that is a little shorter than the rest. If you can't see that, I'm sorry, but there is a piece that sticks up. So what I do when I go to cut, I look at the lowest piece and I kind of cut from there. And then they'll be even. So they're almost done. Only 2 more. Well, 4 more because of how I separate them. You could put more in if you want to cut. I just feel comfortable with doing 3 at a time. If I have 7, I might do 4 and 3. But I just feel like once you get so many in there and you're trying to cut, it's a lot of layers to cut. And if your scissors aren't as sharp, it's not going to cut right. You're going to have little bumps in it, and it could, the ends could fray a little bit because, I mean, ribbon gets thick as you cut. So and then I'm gonna separate these and have 2 colors of each together. So I think I'm gonna put the orange with the yellow polka dots and then the blue with the striped. No reason. I just like how it's gonna look together. So for this one, I'm gonna put the polka dots on top. Just how I chose to do it. You can do it any way you would like. It all depends on what you're feeling on top. Oops, except I did that one wrong. And you could put both of the printed on top if you want to, or you could put both of the solid on top, or you could do one of each. And I kind of think that's what I'm going to do for this one. So I'm going to put the blue on top of this. And then I'm going to have them there because it'll be easier as we're filling in the ribbon and adding, or filling in the mesh and adding the ribbon. It's going to be a lot easier that way. So that's how I prep it, just to make it go a little easier. Okay, so now we're ready to start building. And I did forget other stuff that I put in at the beginning of what you'll need, and I do apologize. We are going to use a clip. Got these at Amazon, or not Amazon, Dollar Tree. 4 of them. It was $1.25. Now they went up to $1.50. So 2 of them for a large, for the large at $1.50, and then you can also get 4 small ones for $1.50. I have both sizes. I use them both. So what we are going to do is we are going to take our mesh and we're just going to fold this part under. So like when you're doing this, it's easier to have it this way, but I do it the opposite way. So I'm going to teach you, I don't know why I do it the opposite way, but I'm going to teach you the easier way. You want to fold this over under it like an inch or 2. And then roll up the middle. And the other end will automatically start folding. And then I'm going to clip this one right there. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. Now I turn it this way when I do it and fold it and then flip it over, but it is easier the other way. I'm just not used to that way. I don't know why I started doing it that way. But, and then we're just going to get in the middle, and this has stripes in it, so it's going to help you. And then you're going to kind of hold it with your thumbs and just pull up with your fingers to get it together. So now I have those 2, and I'm going to put them together in the clip. And then I'm going to grab some ribbon. And we are going to, you're going to find like the middle. You can measure it across if you want to see how long it is and hit it in the middle. I generally am pretty close at doing it. And if it's off, all you do is whatever way you need to, just move your hand and slip it across. And then you're good. So once it's folded like that, I will take it and kind of pop it out. So I'll run my hand underneath just so that it pops out a little bit. And then I will put it on my ribbon, or on top of my mesh. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it all in there. Which way should I want this? Like this. And if you want to, what you can do is you could just tie this like once and then add this in so that it kind of, so that you get the way it wants to go. So it wants to go this way. I usually just put it all together. I just got a little confused there. And we probably could even have went down to 12 inches in all honesty. And then you're just going to take them. And I start on the outside. You can start on the inside if you want. Totally up to you. That was weird. And then what you want to do is you're going to get them together. And you're going to kind of fold them over. This doesn't want to cooperate, so see, and sometimes that happens. So we're going to do one at a time. And then I'll just add them on top. So we're going to get this one in. Why are you being so difficult? Oh boy. See, sometimes this happens. So you want to get them up and in. And if you have to, kind of fold them over this way. And if it's going to give you issues, you don't have to leave it this way. You can also put it this way. No, it looks better this way. And I'm just going to have to like really mess with it because it doesn't seem to want to. Because you kind of want the ends to meet and be over each other so that they're not so wide open. But this one is just being difficult. And I wonder if it's just going to be this stuff. I don't like it open down there. And if that's the case, we'll just change it completely to a different method. Okay, so it's kind of sitting. So we'll put this one in next and fight with this one. I'm more concerned about the outside one being closed than the inside because when we go to the middle, that's going to cover the top and then we can fight with it up there. So, but I don't want a wide gap at the bottom. So, I mean, we're still going to try it. Sometimes this is just the life of it. And we got it. And then we're going to add in the ribbon. So this one just might be a little bit of a, this mesh just might be a little harder to put into the place you need it to. So, and it does happen. And the reason I fold it over for it is so that the ends, you're not going to see if they fray a little bit. It's going to be hidden in there. So I got the first one in. And now what I do, just to hold it in place a little better, once I have it tightened there, we're going to roll it over. And we're going to put it on the back. And we're going to tighten it about 2 or 3 times. And then we'll worry about that at the end. But that will hold it in place. And that way it doesn't really move. So we're going to do the 6 outer edges for all of this. So again, we're going to fold. And we're going to bring it together. Sometimes, yes, I do struggle with getting it to roll up. And that's okay, it happens. I don't know why this mesh isn't cooperating, but I guess we're going to have to do them one at a time. So now, you want this to kind of lay out this way. so that it's sitting there. So then we're just gonna kind of do one at a time and then add the ribbon. So I'll tie this once and I'll work on getting that covered over it. And then this side I'll work on getting this to kind of go in. So this stuff is going to be a little more difficult. That wasn't as bad. And then we're just going to have to do each piece one by one. Which, yes, it's going to take longer. And when I bought this stuff, I didn't really understand the whole difference between mesh, because there are some meshes that are better than others. And some are used good in different ways that you make wreaths. But I got to get this stuff used up and get it so that I can get the mesh that I like to use. A lot of times I'll get the mesh from, I will go to Hobby Lobby if I have to, but I usually use the Hobby Lobby mesh more for like my pine wreaths, just because it's not as seen. But I do go to, I get a lot of my mesh at Craft Outlet, and it has like these little squares in it, and it works, and it's a little harder, but that's okay. It's stickier, and it works much better in like when you're doing wire wreaths. And I'll even use that in my pine wreaths too. But if I need something right away and I can't wait, Craft Outlet is pretty quick for me. They usually get here in like 2 to 3 days, or some take a week. But if I need something for like that day and I happen to be out by Hobby Lobby, I will just go pick up the mesh I need. And like every other week, their mesh and ribbon is 40% off. So, and I use all different types of ribbon. So all the ribbon, well, 3 of them. These 3 are from Sam's Club, I believe, and they're 50 yards, and I believe now they're up to like $9. If you look at some like bargain stores in your area, if you have them, because there's one at my hometown that has one, and I get some there for like $4 or $5. It's usually last season's, but who cares? It still works. This I got at Hobby Lobby. It's the Easter special kind. So I also use deluxe ribbon, which is, they consider it a designer ribbon. It is a little bit more, it's not that much depending on what you get, but it could start at like $8 for, and it's only 10 yards, and that's fine. The wire on it is amazing. This wire on these ones that I have is pretty good too, so it doesn't mean you have to use it all. But I do like deluxe, so I do purchase a lot of deluxe. And then I do have some like D. Stevens. I'm very particular because I don't spend more than $25 on ribbon, especially at 10 yards, and they can get pretty pricey, but it's really good. You know, so I never understood all that, but I still will use the more cost-effective ribbon in a lot of my stuff, and I'm fine with that. So it's totally up to you. Sometimes the better ribbon does elevate the wreath, and sometimes, you know, the stuff is going to elevate it too. So it just depends on what you like, because for the longest time I never used like the designer ribbon, and I felt like my stuff turned out fine, and then I did find it, and sometimes, like a lot of times, the D. Steven and the deluxe have really good wires that hold the curl very well, that helps your bow sit better with the loops and all of that, but I can make any of it work. And then I do also have some Vickermans. They don't sell that at Craft Outlet. I get that from a different place. I get that from Wreaths by Waldo. It's a lot of velvet. It's very pretty. It's still in that price range I'm willing to go, because I do try to be as cost effective as I can, but sometimes some of the stuff that are in there just goes so well with like my design that I get those. And I use that stuff a lot in pine wreaths, but you will see me use it in like these kinds of wreaths too, but I usually save most of it for the pine wreaths. I don't know why. I also do use this kind of ribbon on pine wreaths too. It just depends on my mood. But there are options out there. And like I said, I don't know how often Sam's Club comes out with their ribbon because there's not one really close to us. And I already have a lot of ribbons, so I'm trying to go through what I have and just buy stuff if I need something as I need it. Because I have a whole big shelf that my husband built me, and it's not even enough room for all my ribbon because I still have some here. And then I have a smaller one in here for like my holiday ribbon, so Easter, Valentine's, you know, stuff like that. But he's got to build me another one because I don't even think that little one that I bought is going to be enough to hold everything. So I really am trying to use and be mindful of what I have and go with it. But if I need special stuff for certain things that I don't have, I will buy it as needed. So it's totally up to you how you want to use your ribbon and what you want to spend and what you want to do. Whatever you choose will look great. Like I said, I go between everything. I know some people who only use like the designer, like the Deluxe or D. Stevens or Vickerman, or even there's another one out there and I can't remember the name right now. And a lot of that sometimes can get kind of pricey, and I can't justify the means to charge someone that much for that. So, and they'll use a lot of different ways, and their wreaths look, you know, their bows, their tails look amazing. I love them. They're gorgeous. But at the same time, I'm trying to be a little more cost effective when I can. And I just like these colors too with it. I like how this ribbon looks with it. So I have no problem, like I said, using the more economical choice. It's still going to turn out gorgeous. But I just kind of wanted to let you know about like some of the different ribbons, some of the ways that like the wire might hold or be stronger, or do a little more shaping that you want. I feel, yeah, designer ribbon is great, but there's also nothing wrong with the more, like I said, economical price of it. I like to give everybody options. So the Deluxe I do get from Craft Outlet, has some, and then what I can't always find on there, and like they sell some D. Stevens, but they don't sell Vickerman, so that stuff I get from Wreaths by Waldo. So like I said, when I go to use that stuff, I'll post where I found that kind of ribbon and where I ordered it from, so that you know. Same with the mesh, as long as I know where I got it from, because I've had mesh for so long. I will link it in the descriptions of these videos so that you can find what you're looking for if you're new or you just want new ideas. And always, if you have any questions, you know, comments, things you want to say, just leave them in my comments and I will answer them. If I missed something or didn't explain something right and you want clarification, the next video I do, I will do that clarification for you. So I want to make sure everybody understands it. I had to watch a lot of videos. I had to rewind and fast forward and all of that to find the parts to do it. And there's so many methods out there that everybody uses. The pancake I've seen on multiple. I can't remember who I've seen it on first. But I do watch a lot of my fellow wreath creators, and I get a lot, like DIY with Nadia, Caleb's Mom Shop, Julie's Wreath Boutique. I think it's Monkey's Creation. I watch them. The Wreath Shop. They give you some really good ideas. Some go more into tutorials with it. Some go more into just making the wreath and talking and giving you, you know, like, this is how I do this. This is how I'm going to put it in there type thing. Some will do what I do and go through and, like, how you make the stuff. So when there's something that's particular for some of those that I am going to use in my wreath, I am going to give credit where credit's due. But this one, I can't remember who I first seen, and a lot of them use this method. So this pancake method is a popular method, but they usually just use one piece of mesh. I chose to use two. So, but I do hope everybody who's watching is doing good. And if you want to, in the comments, let me know where you're watching from. I would love to hear, and I will look and I will respond. But I am in Kansas. My husband is in the military, so we are stationed at a base in Kansas. I'm originally from Wisconsin. Lived there for 42 years before my husband rejoined. I'm older than my husband, and he was in it before I met him. And when I met him, he was in National Guard, and then he got out for a little bit, and then I forgot to add my ribbon. And he decided that he missed it, totally understand, so he rejoined. And this is our second duty station. We stayed in Kansas because we were at another duty station in Kansas because I was diagnosed with cancer, and my oncologist is great. And I had to have a lot of surgeries and a lot, you know, chemo, radiation. I've had to have a lot of surgeries due to other medical issues, and some that stem from, like, my chemo and radiation. So I do have stage 4 cancer. However, I am 4 years in remission, and I just wanted, and they feel like stage 4 is not curable. It's treatable, and they feel like I have very good odds because of my age, because I was like 42 when I was diagnosed. And I responded very well to chemo, and I had 2 or less spots where it traveled because it didn't stay in because I have breast cancer, it didn't stay in that area. It went to my liver. I had 2 small spots there. So I wanted to stay here for at least till I hit that 5-year mark, and we'll be here till like 6 or 7 years, as long as it all goes well. But I love my oncologist, and I didn't want to leave him yet. When I do leave, I'm going to have the other person. I'm hoping they'll have the same stuff that this oncologist has here, and as long as I stay in remission, I'll just stay with them. But if my cancer comes back, I will come back to Kansas and go to my oncologist there, because I love him. He's great. He has so many backups for me. Unfortunately, we can't always stay in the same place, so, but we are also limited on where we can go because I have other stuff. So we have to make sure we're in an area so there's no, like, overseas or the little bases. So it just depends. It's not fun, but I'm here. I feel pretty good for the most part. I had a wonderful husband who got me through it and was my rock, and my kids checked on me, and my brothers and everything. So I had really good friends, support, everything. It is hard because, you know, as much as that support means, I don't know about other people who have been diagnosed, but you still feel very alone even with all that support, because they don't understand how it all feels. You could watch someone you know and love go through cancer, but until you're really fighting it, it's a whole different battle. But I am appreciative of everyone who did send me love and support. And I did post on my Facebook page about my journey because I felt if I could help somebody, even one person, find it before it reached that far. Because you're supposed to get mammograms at 40. We didn't have the best insurance at the time, so as soon as my husband re-enlisted, I went in and got my mammogram, and that's where they found it. And sometimes I wonder if I would have done it 2 years sooner, what would have happened. But I can't think of what ifs, and I can't think of what's going to happen. I have to just take it day by day. That's all that I can do. I have to live in the moment. What's going to be is going to be. But I keep the positive attitude, because having the sad attitude, or like, and I had that at first, don't get me wrong. I cried. It was horrible. Like, I thought I wasn't going to be here in a year. And look, I'm here 4 years later. I was a mess. It was very hard. But as we got the treatment options and everything was going good, having that positive attitude, even in the pain and everything, really does help. I have my moments, but I'm here, I'm happy. I have my kids, my grandkids, my family, my pets. My kids live in other states because we obviously moved for the military, and they don't have to move like that. So, but I talk to them all the time. So I have a pretty good life, minus the pains that I have, which is normal, and all the medications I take and stuff that came up after the fact. I just never want to have surgery again. I've had so many surgeries. I'm tired of surgeries. I'll be honest with you. But it is what it is. If I have to do it again to help, I will. So, and I have neuropathy from my cancer. And sometimes it's really bad in my fingers, and I can't feel my feet. The nerve endings did die, so it constantly feels like they're asleep. So you will see me sometimes struggle with like the wreaths and putting stuff in or rolling, because I can't always feel them. And it just means I just have to work, you know, extra hard to get that through and get through it. And I love what I do. I can't work anymore because of how many lymph nodes they took out and some of the side effects. So I got into wreaths from a friend that I had. We're not friends anymore, but I am grateful for her for showing me how to do wreaths. So I learned the basics from her, because I didn't know what to do with my life. I was working at a jail, and when we moved to Kansas, that's when I got it done. I was getting ready to apply at jails down at the first duty station we were in to continue working at a jail when they found it, and all of this happened. So, worked retail for 18 years. Don't want to do that again. It takes a lot, and I have major props. And I thought I wanted to be a nurse. Again, major props to nurses, because I could not do that. All the terminology, all of that stuff, like the bedside manner, I'm just not equipped for it. And I know that. And so I give nurses every prop in the world, because it takes a special person to be a nurse and have to deal with all that. And then before my husband re-enlisted, he was working at a jail, and I was going to school for criminal justice because I wanted to be like, and my pills, my mind messes with my mind. I wanted to be like the, what is that called? Probation officer, or even go more into psychology and kind of study that aspect of it, because it always made me wonder. And unfortunately, I can't have that career anymore, and I miss it every day. I really enjoyed it. So it was very black and white. Didn't think I was very creative. She showed me the basics, and then I started going on YouTube to learn more and hone this skill, and because I loved it, and started learning more and more. So even though her and I aren't friends anymore, I am grateful for what she taught me and what I learned, how she got me started, because I absolutely love this. And then I've been doing it for like 4 years or so, but I wasn't going live. I wasn't, posting. I had a Facebook page and I was just posting this stuff there, and I was afraid to go live. I wasn't sure how I would do. And I started going live like this past September, October, and I'm loving it. I love all the interaction. I love teaching. I don't claim to know everything, but just fun, the interaction and people learning and enjoying and us chit-chatting like we're doing now, even though we're not live. I just love this aspect of it, and I wish I would have done it sooner, but time and a place, I guess. And this is when I was meant to do it. So I decided, let's start doing this and recording and doing tutorials, and some that I post on here will be shorter tutorials, maybe how to make a bow, maybe how to cut the ribbon, maybe a mesh method before we do that one on here, so we don't have to do it all right like this. But this one I just chose to do. We'll still do wreaths on here, but there might be a whole bunch of different things that I show. So, and I need to get into it on everywhere and just embrace what I'm doing. And so, why don't you all, if you want to, comment and tell me how you got started and how long you've been doing it. And maybe even who you learned from, or where you started to learn from. I'd be interested in hearing that. Or even if you can, I don't know if you can do it on here. If you can, in the comments, post some pictures of your wreaths that you made so we all can enjoy them. I love seeing other people's wreaths. Everybody does stuff differently, and it makes it so much fun. Like, we both could be doing this same kind of wreath and turn out completely different, and that's what I love about it. So if you're able to, post some. I could show you some love. I just want it to be a community where we lift each other up, we enjoy videos, we enjoy hanging out, all of that. So, and if there's ever something you want to see me make, or you're not sure like how or what you really want, but you have an idea, let me know, and I can try to figure it out. And if I can get it all, which usually I'm pretty good at finding that, we'll do it here. Or if there's just something specific you want to see, we'll make it, because it just goes into selling. So, and if you ever want a wreath made, you can just message me. I do custom wreaths. The only thing is there is a deposit for it. And these wreaths that I make are for sale. I have an Etsy. I'll add it in. I have a Facebook page. And I also have a TikTok shop. Honestly, easier is probably going to be Etsy or my Facebook page, because the TikTok shop kind of confuses me. So I have issues trying to get, because you have to add for shipping, and I generally just add it into my price, so I don't put a whole shipping prices. I just kind of do the whole lump together. And on there, it just confuses me, so I have to like see how much they charge for their generic, or what they feel is the shipping for a box size that they have preloaded in there, and then I have to put mine in to equal that, so that you aren't being overcharged. So, whatever, if we're making anything or you want to check out my Facebook page, I have them on there. It's just J&R Creations with the same symbol that is on this one. It'll have the price. It says includes shipping. I do pirate ship. So I picked the best deal that will get there the quickest. And honestly, lately it's been UPS. And I sent to Wisconsin to a couple people in different areas of Wisconsin. And then I also sent to a different area in Kansas. And they all got it like the next day. So they've been pretty good and they've been pretty reasonable. So I picked the cheapest, quickest one. And then once I get it shipped, I try to get it shipped within like 1 to 3 days. Just depends on, A, if it's the weekend, B, if my husband needs the car because he has to drive places or whatever, or has to go to different things in different areas. It may be like that 2-3 day mark, just depends. But I try to get them out as quick as possible. So you get them quicker. Usually I can get it out almost the next day. And then I have many different forms of payment. So whatever you feel comfortable with is what we'll use, because I accept almost everything. So, and then I'll send you the tracking number, and then you can see when it gets there and when it's delivered and all of that, fun stuff. So I don't want you to have to wait for your wreaths, because I noticed I was doing UPS at first and it was taking like 5 to 7 days, sometimes longer, to get there. And then I realized on there was where it would compare, and UPS happened to be the cheapest. And I think the longest it took, I sent to like West Virginia, and it took like 3 days. So, and if there's an issue or anything, you just let me know and we will see what we can do to take care of it. Very careful with how I pack and all of that so that nothing breaks. But yeah, that's how I do it. So if you're ever interested, check out. I'm hoping to have a website this year. I just haven't got that far. Gotta do steps at a time, or it'll be a little easier to shop. But if you ever see anything, I post the pictures with the price. You just say sold or I would like it, and then I'll message you and we will get it taken care of with everything. That's just how I have to do it now. So I'm hoping by the end of the year, like, I can have a website where you can just go on, pick it, pay, and we ship it. That's enough about that stuff. So just wanted to let you know. So now we're just going to fluff out the ribbon a little bit. And as you can see, it is a little wider, but it's still flatter than when you use some other methods. So that'll still fit nicely in a door. And then we're gonna, I pre-did this. I think I have a tutorial for how I do wooden signs and metal signs. So if I don't still have it, I'll do another one and I'll post it so you kind of see how it is. But I generally put it on 4 sides, even with the metal one when I use the wire bracket, just so that I can get it in and it sits. And it holds better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it through the mesh on either side so that it holds better. And this is sometimes where I struggle a little bit. So I'm going to try to get it around the 3rd and 4th ring here. And I'm just going to push it through the mesh. And then it will come to the other side. And I won't tighten it completely tight because I do have to add the other ones, make sure it's centered, make sure I like it. So usually I'll keep it loose while we do it, and then let it sit, and then tomorrow I'll come check it out, make sure it looks good, and tighten it all up, do what I got to do, take pictures, and post it. I'm a little behind on posting, but I'm going to try to fix that all up today and tomorrow, because I have a few spring and Easter wreaths, and I need to get those posted so they can sell. Yes, I would love to hear, though, how you got started. Where you learned from, or did you learn on your own? And even like, do you do more mesh wreaths? Do you do more grapevines? Do you do centerpieces? I love mesh wreaths. I love making mesh wreaths. I won't lie. I have made grapevines. I'm not the best at it, so I'm working on it. Same with centerpieces. I've been working on it. So we will be doing all different kinds of stuff. We'll do all these different wireframes with different mesh methods. We'll do actual flower wreaths where the mesh is just the flower and you put it all together and it looks gorgeous with the little center. I have a few of those that I have to do. I just have to get centers for some of them. Grapevines, centerpieces, all the fun stuff. And then we're going to do every holiday, see, like this one I am struggling with. Every season, just animals, stuff like that. Bees, ladybugs, butterflies. All the fun stuff. Pumpkins, scarecrows, some cutesy Halloween, some a little bit more traditional. Halloween is my favorite holiday of all time. So sometimes, last year I didn't have the chance to go too overboard. I was still recovering from surgery, so I had to have another surgery, so I got behind. And I didn't have as much as I would like. But I had stuff set up. I'm going to be ordering more stuff, and we're just going to have fun with it. I do like Christmas. Like last year I had a really lot of fun with Christmas. Sometimes I struggle with Christmas. I know it's the holiday where everybody like really goes all out, and sometimes I would struggle with Christmas a lot because I never knew what to do, and I never know, sorry, that's my other phone. I never know, I wasn't ever quite sure what to make. Sometimes a holiday was a struggle for me, but last year I really came into it and I really enjoyed, oh my goodness, this doesn't want to go through, everything that I made. So, hoping we'll have the same this year, because we have Christmas in July, so we'll be doing some Christmas then. I have stuff that I saved from last year because I really got into it and bought way too much stuff and just, again, got a late start and didn't have time to do it all. So, we're going to have Christmas in July, and then we're going to have our regular Christmas season, and I'd like to do some Thanksgiving ones too because everybody likes different things. So I'm going to make sure everybody has choices. So I'm really looking forward to doing all this with everybody and really getting out there. And see, I got my ribbon stuck under it. There it is. And yeah. So I am looking forward to, oops, I thought I did this the other way. Well, the top one I did the wrong way. I don't know how I managed that, unless it's twisted, but no, I did it the wrong way. So the top has the designs on top and the bottom is the way I was saying. It happens. So then I like to, if I can, and get them to stay, and I might end up putting a little bit of glue underneath. I like to spread them out so that you can see all of them. Sometimes it's a little harder than most. Like I said, sometimes I have to put a little glue underneath just so we can keep them separated. And but I kind of do this, and I'll make sure that it's kind of like if I have a solid and a design, solid design, solid design, and kind of go all the way across with it. And then what you can also do is once you get it all out and separated, you can also kind of curl it down if you wanted, just so it doesn't stick up the way it is. And just kind of do it how you feel. It's kind of helps shape it, so it's not just so randomly jumping all around. As you can see. And that's what we have so far. So pretty. And now we're going to make 2 bows for it. So we're going to use the same ribbon. This is a Bodabra. This is what I use. I cannot make hand bows. There are some great tutorials out there if you want to learn how to make hand bows. There's also a wooden one that has pegs that you can do in it, but I struggle with that because the pegs come loose, and the Bodabra has been the easiest for me to use. Try them all, see what works for you. So I think it's like an N Stow and Go or something like that. And then there's other names for it, but I just like the Bodabra. You can get it. We were just talking about it on a live. It was cheaper at Hobby Lobby than it was on Amazon by like, I think on Hobby Lobby it was $19.99. On Amazon it was like $33.99. So yeah. So you pick, you know, just search around for them all. See where the better price is. But I do. And I always had trouble making bows. I could never understand it. Some people do it different ways where they cut it and put it together. And that just never made sense to me. And I didn't like how they did. So I didn't do bows for a long time, to be honest. I was like, who needs bows? That's fine. And then I found someone who made hand bows. And I don't make hand bows, but the way she explained how to do it really helped me. And then she had a couple tutorials where she did use the Bodabra, and that's where I really learned how to do my bows. Like, I feel like I'm so much better with them. Sometimes I just need, not saying that anybody else explained it badly, I just didn't understand it. It didn't make sense to me. So that was part of the problem. So we're going to measure this. The tail I'm going to start at 10 inches. If I need to, I can cut it down. And when you go to put it in, you want to twist it so that the underside is showing when you're this way. And I'm going to do a 6-inch. And then, so you want to measure out a 6-inch. I have mine at 10. Even numbers are easier for me. And then once you get it in there, you want to twist it. And then measure out on this side. Because you want to make sure the top, and you'll notice the difference like when I use the design stuff, how it can look on both sides. And then I'm just going to measure out from there 10 inches. Where did my scissors go? Good Lord. Oh. 10 inches. And for this one, for this color, I'm only going to do a 1 loop on each side. Probably the solid colors, I'm probably going to do like a 1 loop. The pattern ones, I'm going to do 2 loops, just for a little variance in here. So now that it's in there, I'm going to take it and I'm going to measure it on here, to measure it to the bow, to the tail length, twist it, and this one I'm going to do at 5 inches. So I'm going down like an inch. So the first loops are going to be at 5 inches, and then for the second loops, I'm going to go down to 4 inches. So you're just going to keep twisting. So as you see, when you twist, you can kind of see the difference in there, like that side versus this side. It's a little more colorful. Might be easier to tell on the yellow. And so this one I'm going to do at 4. Then we're going to match it and cut it. Now for the new color, you may think I'm going to go to 3, but I'm actually going to do 4 again. So we're going to put the blue on. There is a method for measurements here. So we're going to do 4. And you don't have to use all 4 colors if you don't want to. You don't have to do double loops. You don't have to do triples. You can make your bow however you want. I'm just showing you the basics. I do them all different, honestly. So then we're going to twist that, and we're going to twist this. And then we're going to measure it out and cut it. And then I just use little push pins to hold it, because otherwise my ribbon was all over the place. It would hang over, it would get tangled, it was hard to grab. And then finally seen someone using push pins, and I was like, duh, why didn't I think of that? So now I use push pins to hold it in place, so it's much neater. Okay, so now we're on to our last color bow. So as you can see, when you look at this side, it's very dull compared to that side. So I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to twist it so that dull side is up, because you don't want that to be on top. Now this one is going to be 3 inches, and then when you fold it over, you're going to see the bright yellow. Well, not the bright, but you're going to see the colors more. And that's why we twist each way. Like that. And I always forget to put pipe cleaners in, so you may see me if you watch more, I'm going to forget to put pipe cleaners in, and it's a struggle. I don't know why I forget. I managed to remember today, but you will see, and then I struggle with it, because it's hard to put in at the end when you have it all in here already. And then, I don't know what it is. I was shocked I remembered today. We're just going to cut the end. And we're going to bring it up. And it's all kind of held into place. So sometimes it is a little thick, and I don't want everything to fall out. And then we're going to take it and we're going to spin it around in the back. Kind of put it down. And then we're going to tie it. And like I said, I'm going to make sure everything is, all together like it should be. I'm going to bring down the tails more so they're not sticking up so high. And then I'm going to attach it into the bow with the pipe cleaner. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go through the mesh, and I'm going to tie it at the 3, 4, or maybe the 2, 3 loops, just so it's down a little bit, because there's some writing on here and I don't want it to cover it once we get it out. So we're just going to stick it in, and sometimes in the places where the mesh is overlapping more, it's going to be a little more difficult to get through all of that layers, and that's okay. So this one wasn't bad, and we'll see. And then again, I'm not going to tighten it all the way. I want it to sit on there. I want to straighten it out. I want to make sure it sits the way I want it to. And tomorrow when I come back to look, I'll tighten it all the way. So, probably do a little tighter. That one was real loose. I still do like 2. So then, I want you to be able to see it. So when you go to fluff it, I kind of like the orange in the very back one, whatever color you choose. I'm going to push it open and I'm going to make sure it's rounded. Then I'm going to take the longer of the striped one and I'm going to kind of put it down. And then with the shorter striped one, I'm going to put it up so that you can still see. And then the next shortest one will go in the middle. And then we'll kind of put these super short ones around there. And that way you can pretty much see all of the ribbon. Just can't get that one open. So you'll see compared to that side. So that's how you do it. And I think I might only do the one bow. I don't really think we need another bow. Maybe we'll do some like one loop bows around it, but I kind of like it just like this. Some of mine get very elaborate. Sometimes I like them very simple. And I kind of like this one very simple with just the one and having the sign kind of be the main event. And not overloading it with like 2 bows and all the other stuff. So I do like this, just how it is. And also what I will do is I will glue the bottom bow on so that it never moves. And you could still fluff it up. I learned that from somebody else and I can kind of see how it makes sense. And then I usually will do the second row. Usually those are the only 2 I do, but I might do the blue just because I think it needs a little bit, and I won't go very high with the glue on the blue. Oops, I need a glue stick. So I may just hit it a little bit at the bottom just so that they're all going to kind of stick up but still stay in place. And I'm not going to glue the yellow ones. I feel like with those 3 being glued, it should be enough. And they're still fluffy. Like I said, if you need to, you just kind of get your hands in there and you get it squared off or rounded out. And that's what we have so far. Like I said, I'm just keeping this one simple. And then we are going to cut these a little shorter, and I'm probably going to keep them maybe around the same length, maybe a little like different edges. And I didn't want it super, super long, but I wasn't sure where, so I'd rather waste a little bit than cut, not have enough, if that makes sense. I'll cut you. I kind of am making them different lengths. Like I said, you don't have to, but I am going to try to get them as close as possible on each side. Oh no, it's the purple next. Just for the striped or the checkered. Just to have a little uniform in it. That one's still a little too long, so we'll just cut it a little bit more. Actually, this yellow's a little too long. And there. And then you can like I did with the ones up here, you can like kind of fold them a little bit down and over so they sit a little more. And then you can spread them out too, so it kind of has that spread out look. It's totally up to you what you want to do with it. But that's what I have. So yes, it is very simple. No extras, but I like it. And I want the focus to be more on this versus all the other stuff. Because I think I do have, we might add, let me see if I have them. So I think I do have some little bunny butts that I forgot about. I have one in brown and I have one in white, and I don't think the brown is going to go very well. So if I added a bunny butt, it would just be one. And I don't even know if I really want to. So where would I add it where it wouldn't look off? So I'll save those for something else. And we'll just leave it as is. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, wreath ideas, anything like that, put it in the comments. I'll get back to you. Hopefully, you're watching and you answer some of the questions I asked. I will also get back to you. But I hope you all have a great day. And I'll have like a full wreath tutorial once a week. And then throughout the week, you'll probably see some shorter tutorials for different things. So when we go to do it, I don't have to go in. So like if I'm next week with the wreath I'm doing, if I'm going to, depending on what mesh method I use, we are going to, I'll kind of show that just by itself, how to do it. And then we'll still do it on here, but it'll go a little faster. But that way you have it and you can kind of rewind and look at it. So watch for those tutorials throughout the week. And then hopefully I'm pushing for every Tuesday to have where we make a wreath on here. So keep an eye out. If for some reason I can't, I'll let you know. But I try to record them ahead of time so that I can just upload them. But thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun doing this. And I hope to I'll talk to you all soon. And I hope I get to make some comments there. Thank you. Bye.